Okay, so why is this presentation highlighting, oh, let me go back. Why is this presentation highlighting RERE and not Pele? That's a question that people that are familiar with the Yoruba culture are going to ask. Why is this saying RERE and not the more familiar Pele? Well, contrary to popular belief, Pele is not defined as good character in the Yoruba language. It's actually the definition of gentle character. This refers to a character that a Babalao, who is a priest of Ifa, must have in order to fulfill and successfully fulfill his duties as a representative of the deity known as Orunmila. And those that are familiar with the Orisha system knows that Orunmila is a deity of divination, a deity of wisdom, one that is an example for Babalaos to follow. And it has to do with the gentleness you must have as a Babalao. You can't be too hot, you can't be too cold. That is a reference to the colors that you will see, which are green and tan. You can't be fire red, and you can't be just cold as blue. So that's a little insight into the colors and why we are highlighting Rere, which is good character, and not Pele, which is defined as gentle character. So this is just summarizing what I just said. Rere is described as good character. It refers to the moral quest of all Yoruba people and all practitioners of the Yoruba culture and traditions. It is the foundation of interaction and the basis of building and blessing within time. So when you talk about Rere, it is the foundation of our entire tradition, of our entire character. It is almost our essence as a people. Without this, we are looked at as something other than African, something other than this particular tribe, something other than outside of this demographic, because you have to have good character for all relations within the Yoruba culture. And I use this as a model because if we're going to build a nation inside or outside the hells of North America, we're going to have to exhibit good character for good building relations and foundations for African people. There's no way around it. Without it, we will run into problems. Without it, we will run into strife, arguments. All types of things come out of not being within a good character sphere. And we're going to talk more about that as we go along. So we're all here because of Garvey. So what did the Honorable Marcus Garvey say about the importance of character? This is a excerpt from the UNIA website, and I'm going to read it here for you. It's entitled, Real Character. When wealth is lost, nothing is lost. When health is lost, something is lost. When character is lost, all is lost. The man of sterling character is a great builder. He is not only a builder of himself, but according to his opportunities, he builds around himself. He builds his environments. He builds his community. He builds his country. And sometimes he helps build a world. The greatest possession of a man is character. He can well afford to lose his wealth and even his health, because if he has character, he can recover them. So few men pay attention to the most essential natural element in good living. If more people had devoted themselves to the development of character, there would have been less misery and less unhappiness in the world. All men who have conquered in every walk and sphere of life were fellows with good character. That is to say, they were men who found the noblest in themselves, who felt that self-development and self-growth were the greatest expression of normal existence. Those who have failed to develop meritorious character have become the stragglers, who everyone passes on the wayside. With sterling character, you can destroy a world and rebuild it. You can go down into the depths and then rise to the heights. You can meet adversity and laugh at it on the way back to prosperity. It is only a characterless coward who goes down permanently. The fellow with the sterling worth, with the urge of honesty, self-confidence, of nobility, sees no defeat, admits of no handicap, no barriers. He must climb to the surface. Can we not inspire Jamaicans to develop the finest and nobler character that would make them builders, not only of themselves, but to their country? Can we not point them to the deeds of other men who have from obscurity lifted themselves to the highest of human usefulness, all through the development of real character? The chance of raising above the level of unfortunate men is for everyone who will enable himself by forcing out the good that is in him. The good you have in you, please bring it out. Nature never made you so soulless, so characterless, as not to have some virtue that can be brought to the surface. Lazy, timid, awkward, characterless Jamaican, realize that you have something in you that is worthwhile. Search yourself and find it. It is a noble character that may mean a nobler life to the lives for the blessing of humanity. After reading this, make up your mind to come out of yourself and let the world know you and of you. You can do it, Marcus Garvey. Now, Marcus Garvey was speaking to his fellow Jamaicans in this passage, but we can take so many things from this passage. He talks about you need real character to build environments, communities, and countries. And that's what we are after. As Pan-Africanists and Black nationalists, we are after building things that can be for Black people, where we don't have to worry about being hunted down and executed, where we don't have to worry about the racism and systemic oppression of our society. We must build. And he talks about, if we want to build this, we have to have what he calls real character. And real character is good character. He talks about all of the great men were fellows with good character. All of the great men. We strive to be that. Great men and women. We strive to be the best version of ourselves. As he says, let it come out so that you not only help yourself, but humanity. And I have a quote at the bottom from my brother Asar Imhotep, which says, with character comes strength, honor, responsibility, and all the things are conducive to nation building. That is what we are doing. We are out for building a nation. And without character that we can rely on, that is honest, that is truthful, that is with love, we can't build anything. So Cheikh Anta Diop, the late ancestor, peace be upon him, describes human character as an investment fund in his book titled Black Africa, which is the full title is Black Africa, a basis for an economic state. He also says political selfishness is killing Africa and is the basis of the current problems Africa has. He advocates for a united African state. United African Federated State. Do you see how these statements by our great ancestor are all related? Think about this. If political selfishness is killing Africa, and be advised, this was written at a time in the 70s. We see the same things today. So, political selfishness is the downfall of Africa. That is not within the good character sphere. So we are electing officials in the continent that don't have IWA. And that is part of the problem our continental Africans face. They don't have the character to uplift their fellow man. They don't have the honesty. They don't have the integrity. So they suffer because someone is getting the pot while the people do not get the pot. So human character is an investment fund because the character is such a vital element that it becomes an investment. Without it, you're seriously lacking an ingredient to build. So this is an excerpt from Omoluwabi Baruti and his book, IWA, A Warrior's Character, which you can find, you can purchase from Baba Baruti. Shouts out to Akobin House. It says, character is a spiritual and mortal core for our salvation as people. If it does not exist in us as a righteous power, we do not exist. I'm going to say that again. If it does not exist in us as a righteous power, we do not exist. This is what I mean when I talk about character being the very essence of African people. If it is not good, we can do no more than serve ourselves. If it is weak, we are weak. However, if it is formed in our traditions, now I have to say that one more time. However, if it is formed in our traditions, African traditions, I would emphasize, designed to follow our way and improve on what was given us at the beginning of our existence, our salvation as a people becomes no more than another task on the way to godliness. Character is what makes us African. It is what makes Africans human. And that's an important sentence right there, because to an African, if you lack humanity and character, you are not human to Africans. So we must understand in this generational war that we are engaged in, we are not fighting humans. To Africans, they are alien-like. And I don't mean coming from the sky. I mean foreign. I mean that they don't lack the specific fiber that to an African makes a human. He goes on to say, without it, we become even less than those arrogantly proud of lacking human spirit or the honor it bestows. Our ancestors teach us that pride and arrogance are the destruction of their owner. But those who are gentle in character create their own fate. They have shown us that a person of character is a person of wealth, and that wealth doesn't have to be monetarily, because as Garvey said, without character, you can obtain none of those other things that we need. Pride and arrogance destroy the humanity in us because they turn us into something other and less than what we naturally are. No wonder pride cometh before a fall. So these are some characteristics that I put together of RERE. We're going to talk about 3 types of truth, because truth doesn't come in just one form. You have a political truth, which is something that is only true in a political demographic. You have a personal truth, something that is only true to the person. Then you have the unobjective truth, and that is something that is true no matter what. The latter is what we are striving for. That's what will shape our reality and lead our generations into sovereignty and sustainability and freedom. We must understand that. We must rely on the truths that are true to every African. That is going to lead us to where we want to be. This is a quote from Oloye Tayese Okumbeme Ifayele, who is a chief, a titled chief amongst the Yoruba tradition. She says, when a lie is repeated often enough, people think it's truth. If it is spoken by elders, is what will be passed to the next generation. If that lie is passed through several generations, it becomes historical and cultural fact. That's a scary thought process if we don't do the research, because we will be building our nation on falsehood. And we all know what happens when you build something on a shaky foundation. It's going to crumble. One key is to recognize the importance of objective truth and how it's bigger than all of us. Nature is the ultimate judge, jury, and executioner. You can argue all you want, but if nature doesn't agree with you, you are wrong. And those of us that practice African traditions know that nature, our deities are based on it. Nature-based spirits. You have to be in alignment with nature, or you are on the wrong side of history. Morality. Ome, this is the highest morality category amongst the Igbo people. It contains values and norms which aim at upholding, preserving, fostering, and enhancing the life of the community. This community is peopled by the living and the dead. The concrete manifestation of Ome is Omen Allah. This is also known as Odinani. This is the tradition of our Igbo brothers in Nigeria. They say morality is basically the fabric of their community. Without morality, what do you have? People doing their own thing, which leads to chaos. We must correct that. Amongst Yoruba brothers, Orunmila also taught that humans must move beyond moralities of convenience to a morality of sacrifice. We must be prepared to sacrifice things in order to build. Self-giving in a real, meaningful, and sustained way. The sacred Odu Ogbe Ofun, or Ogbe Fun, says that one who makes a small sacrifice will have a small result. And putting it into context, if you make a small sacrifice, you have a small reward. Each of us must be ready to give a sacrifice for our people. That is what we must teach our children so that this struggle one day ends and we have African sovereignty. Morality is the prime consideration for African oratory and public discourse. The power of Nomo, which is in the Dogon tradition, appears to be in proportion to moral character of the speaker, not just to the person's oratorical skill. And that is from my article, Character, the Most Important Ingredient in African Spirituality, which you can find on my website that I will share later. But listen to the dialogue. Nomo is a deity amongst the Dogon. And its power is alongside moral character. And this passage talks about moral character and not just an oratory skill. Too often in our community, we get mesmerized by people that can speak well, but don't provide any solutions and don't teach us about our African traditions and character. We must demand more from our speakers. We must demand more from our people that do things in the community. They must have good character, because if you are a great speaker, but don't have the character, you can be easily manipulated for our demise. The term Ubuntu in the Kiluba language is a human being, man or woman. In Ngunti Bantu, the term is often translated as I am because we are. It's associated with humanity or humanity towards others. Amongst the Xhosa people, Ubuntu, Nguntu, Ngabantu, but is often used as a more philosophical sense to mean the belief in sharing a universal bond and sharing that connects all humanity. Ultimately, this term means simple human kindness. And you see the references below. Shouts out to brother Malefi Asante and sister Ama Mazama. Simple human kindness. Can you exhibit this? Because without it, you see the connection. You're not human. This is what I was referring to earlier. If your character is not right, African people don't consider you human. And all of these groups that I talked about, the Nguni, the Xhosa, the Kiluba, these are of Southern Africa. But we saw the same parallel in groups in West Africa, didn't we? So this is a universal African concept that was developed because of things called the African superhighway of wisdom, when Africans traveled around and met other priestly people and shared ideas. The highway of wisdom still exists, where people go and learn from other traditions. But that's another subject. So the question must be asked, why should we build a nation? Because sovereignty equals self-reliance. Too long have we relied upon these alien people that aren't even human, until either we cease to exist as a people, or we learn the lesson of being in charge of our own destiny, as Nana John Henry Clark says, the lesson of nation building, and the lesson of sacrifice and discipline, until we understand what it will take to regain our power. What will it take to protect our children from peonage or enslavement? That's what we're after. We have to keep pushing the line to get out from under the foot of our oppressors. We cannot do that if we don't trust each other. We cannot do that if we won't support each other. That comes from character. We must be self-reliant, organized, and critical thinkers in today's world. We must have a strong understanding of how Africans existed and successfully thrived before the brutal Arab Christian colonialism, slavery, and the creation of the corporation called the United States of America was founded. And that's from my brother in the Masi Warrior Clan, Amin Ma'ad Ra. Peace, brother. All right. In the Yoruba tradition, we have sacred passages and scripts called the Odu. I will share with you some that talk about character. Ogbe Otura says, sparkling white teeth are the ornaments of a smile, and good character is the ornaments of a person. If a person looks good but lacks good character, that person should be compared to a tree in the forest. Now think about what it's saying. There are trees in the forest, nothing special about a particular tree on average. So if you lack the basic fundamentals of good character, there's nothing special about you in the Yoruba tradition. In this passage, Ogbe Ogunda, anger does no good. Patience is the father of good character. An elder blessed with wisdom of patience has everything. Eji Ogbe says, I behave as my God creates me. I do good always. I am honest too. I do no evil. Neither do I harbor evil thoughts. Lest I die wretched. This is because whatever we initiate in our youth will persist till old age. These are the declarations of the oracle for Rurumila and the 400 Irumole when coming from heaven to the world. Oludumare, who is our supreme being, instructed them to do good always. Only Orunmila applied honesty of thought to overturn all evil machinations. So think about that. This is God telling them, if you have good character, you can have everything. That's in the same alignment as Baba Marcus Garvey told us. You can get everything with good character. And this is what we must build our nation on. Otura Ogunda says, dishonesty does not pay anyone. Wickedness is not the beneficial either. When a dishonest person plots his treachery, his conscience pricks at him persistently. Those are the declarations of Ifa for Sabagiriyan, who is the head of the honest people. Pray, be honest, be truthful. He who is honest, the deity supports. Sorry about that, I'm getting robocalls. All right. Otura Ogunda, the honest ones in the world, are not up to 20. And for every less than 20, the wicked ones amongst them are more than 1,200. Time, especially when it's a long time, usually lessens the pain of any matter. So think about what it's saying here. There are not a lot of good people. There are not a lot of people that possess the character that we must have. So we must stand out amongst them. It even gives a number. 20 versus 1,200. For every 20 people, 1,200 bad, 1,200 wicked, 1,200 dishonest. So we must strive to be amongst that 20 so that we can teach it to our children and we can build our nation wherever we want to build it. Ejiogbe says, Rockba Garnis struck against a calabash or rope or rock. Then that which we are after is good character. If one is rich without good character, the wealth belongs to someone else. That which we are after is character, good character. If one is blessed with children without good character, the children belong to someone else. If one is blessed with houses without good character, the houses belong to someone else. Nation building. It tells you plainly in Ejiogbe, if we build this house, this nation, this land, whatever we want to build without good character, it will belong to someone else. And I'm going to tell you, if the someone else will be our oppressors. It will not be us. This is from Malimu Baruti's book as well, but he is referencing the book God and Yoruba Belief. I forget the author of this book. I believe his name is Odowu. I can't remember his last name. But these are some of the things in order to gain Olodumare's favor, and you must have good character to gain Olodumare's favor. It says, practice chastity towards all except their complement. Hospitable towards others, especially deserving strangers. Act selflessly towards others. They are driven to express kindness to others, especially those in need. Eschew wickedness, meanness, cruelty, and retaliation. Speaking truthfully and following a path of righteousness. Do not steal. They are trustworthy. They are not hypocritical. Unhesitatingly protect the innocent and those physically weaker than their attackers. Honor and respect their elders. These are the 11 things that you can do to gain Olodumare's favor. And they just so happen to align with the phrase and the term of the day, Iwa RERE, good character. So this was a great passage to put in the book by Baba Baruti. And I want to stress that these are 11 things that you can start practicing in your life right now. If you feel like you're a little weak in one of them, you can change that. No one is perfect, but we strive to meet a standard. This is from a book called Omoluwabi by Solagbade Popola. And we all need to strive to be an Omoluwabi. As the passage says, the concept of Omoluwabi is an adjectival Yoruba phrase, which has the word Omo ti Olu Iwabi as its components literally translated separately. Omo means child, Ti means that or which. Olu Iwa means chief or master of Iwa, character, and B means born. When combined, Omoluwabi translates as the baby begotten by the chief of Iwa, or the baby begotten by the chief of character. Such a child is thought to be, or thought of as, a paragon of excellence in character. This is what we need to strive to be. Once we have excellence in character, we can proceed to build what we want. These are some fundamental principles of Omoluwabi. We have Oro, Orosiso, which is the spoken word. Iteriba, which is respect. Inurere, having good mind to others. Otito, which is truth. Iwa, which is character. Akin Kanju, which is bravery. Ishe, hard work. Opolo, Pipe, which is intelligence. These are some things we must have to be Omoluwabi, and they're good things to strive to in your life, good things to teach to your children, so on and so forth. Characteristics of a nation. To have a nation, we must have a defense, because they will come. Every nation on earth has been tried and had to have some type of defense, whether it be the Army, the Navy, or whatever they have. You must have a defense. They must be sovereign. For Africans, this is not a negotiation, because as I said earlier, we must get out from under the foot of our oppressors. We must have a means of production, and this ties into sovereignty. We must be able to produce things within our demographic that we can either sell and or feed our population with. And this quote from is from Brother Asari Motep. As I have repeated in the past, the focus on feeding your village food was due to it being the primary concern of ancient communities, because our modern concerns are so much more complex than just food. The animal emphasis in Ebo ritual must be translated to fit the community's responsibilities of the modern society, such as contributing to your community's healthcare system, schools, etc. And we can go on with etc. But the basic principle is we must feed our people. And that goes beyond food. It goes to respect. It goes to teaching. It goes to health. It goes to so many other different avenues that we can feed our people with. But the main principle here is creating things to feed our village, and our villages, our modern day villages, are our communities. Relationships. Relationships are based on character, whether they be platonic or non. You have to have good character to be a good partner. And that's just what it is. You can't be a lying, deceitful partner and expect the best from your partner. We have to raise that standard. Business partnerships. If you would like to erect something with someone else in the community, you both have to have good character, morality, honesty, integrity. Those are things that are going to be your calling card and make your business succeed. Romantic relationships, same thing. There's no way around it. We all have stories about people that did us wrong. Those people that engaged in that deceit were not exhibiting good character. So we have a microcosm story of the macrocosm we need to get to. Treat that failed relationship as what you need to put into building. The same things you would like in a relationship to build and have a great relationship, put those same things into building a nation. Because if not, it's not going to be sustainable. They say teams win. Well, teams without good character don't win. Not in the end, they don't. They crumble like the rest, and they would be thrown in the archives of history. We're out for sustainability. I suggest everyone read this book, Where's the Love by Asari Imhotep, in which he says, if we want to build a nation that is conducive to African people, whether it be repatriation or building in the U.S., we cannot afford to build it on someone else's tradition and culture. Why does he say that? Because other people's tradition and culture don't have this character element in it. And that is evident from their actions through various points of history. We must rebuild it on traditional African foundations. Dynasty, traveling, sense of community, culture, and ways of life that are more conducive to the African than our current program we continue to run. We must look to the past and move in the right direction. This is the concept behind the term Sankofa, which I know you've all heard of, but I want to introduce you to a new term called Aluja. Aluja is similar to Sankofa, but the difference is when you go back and fetch it, you use what you have fetched to build. Character amongst criminals. This is an excerpt from Baba Amos Wilson, peace be upon him. If you're not thinking in terms of nationhood, then I must say frankly, you're not thinking seriously of being liberated. Trying to integrate and merge with our enemies is not going to solve our problem. It's not going to happen, as a matter of fact. It is a fantasy that has kept us from taking care of business for far too long. That the idea that one day we're going to be one with these people, that we're going to merge into invisibility with these white folk, and even if that were possible, we should question our motives for wanting to do so. Why would you want to merge with the world's greatest criminals and thieves, with the people who have had the worst values the world has ever known? So we know their character is low and sometimes non-existent. We cannot afford to merge with them. And that goes for all of our oppressors. We cannot afford, we must maintain our values, African values. That's the only way we are going to succeed. So, this is from the book I stated about earlier from Sheikh Anta Diop. And he says 14 steps to African unity. Number one, restore consciousness of our historic unity. Number two, to work on linguistic unification. We have to find a way to communicate with each other. And it can't be a European way of communicating. This is why Pan-Africans suggest Swahili as the official language that African people can communicate with continental-wide, because of its various elements in other languages and its easiness to learn. We have to raise our national tongues to the rank of governmental languages used in parliament and in the writing of laws. This is very important on a cultural level, because if we don't, we're still speaking in the language of our oppressors. We have to work out an effective form of representation for the female sector of the nation, because without the females, there is no revolution and there is no nation. I don't care what nobody say. If we don't do right by our females, there will be no nation. And you can tell them I said it. We must live in African federal unity. The immediate unification of the French and English-speaking Africa alone can act as a test for this. We got to get unity. We have to continue to build bridges to African people worldwide. We have to oppose out of the hand of any idea of creating white states anywhere in Black Africa, no matter where the idea comes from. Enough is enough. They must go. To make sure our Constitution is written so that industrial bourgeoisie cannot come into being. Can come into being. This would prove that they are truly socialists by preventing in advance one of the fundamental ills of capitalism. And on that subject, we would have to make a decision. Do we want to be socialists or do we want to be capitalists? We have to make that decision in order to press forward. We have to create a powerful state of industry, giving primacy to industrialization and development and mechanization of agriculture. Simply, we have to grow our own food. That's basically what that's saying. And I don't think anyone would disagree with that. We have to create a powerful army. That's what I said earlier about defense, possessing an air force and endowed with a civic education that would make it unlikely to indulge in Latin America type pustaches. We must mount a defense. That's basic human survival. We have to create the technical institutes without which a modern state cannot exist. The nuclear physics, the chemistry, the electronics, the aeronautics, the applied chemistry, so on and so forth. Contrary to popular belief, we do need science. And contrary to popular belief, science is an African thing. That is where it came from. When we go into the papyrus of the great Egyptian civilizations and we read about their physics experiments, that came from us. And I would go so far to say you can add math with the Rhine mathematical papyrus. You can add health and doctoral studies. That all came from us. We have to reduce luxurious living standards judiciously, equalize salaries in a way that political positions are comparable to workers' jobs. And this is because, and you see this in the United States, when these people get in these political positions that pay great amounts of money, they detach themselves from the local population. All of a sudden, they don't see the world in which you do because they're getting paid $300,000 a year. We must avoid that mistake. We have to organize production, cooperatives made up of volunteers owning adjacent fields in order to mechanize and modernize agriculture and permit large-scale production. That's what I was saying when I was talking about means of production. We got to feed ourselves. To create model state farms with a view of broadening technical and social experience of still ungrouped individual farmers, peasants, countryside collectivization will meet with 1,000 times less resistance amongst us than it did in the European countries for all. Now, the farms are essential. We must erect those. And we have to train our future generations to be farmers. Because right now, Black farmers is it's an area in the United States that no one seems to want to do. We have to change that mindset. We have to repopulate Africa at the proper time. That goes back to building the bridge. We have to carry out with conviction a policy of full employment in order to progressively eliminate the material dependence of certain social categories. That's a great thing to strive to, because that's one thing our oppressors do. They create needs. All of a sudden, we need the Air Force Ones. We need the Jordans. We need the diamonds and the jewelry and all that other stuff. No, we define the needs. And we make sure that everyone has employment. One thing I noticed when I went to Dubai is everybody had a job. They didn't have any homeless people because they employed everyone. Even if it was a menial job, it was still a job. And they didn't have the crime that we had because they no longer had those needs. They didn't need to have the Mercedes-Benz and everything like that because those needs were never instilled in their psyche. When we build our nation, we must keep that in mind. Finally, there's no separation. And I'll explain what I mean by that. And of course, this is again from Malamu Baruti's book, IWA. As a power, no nation stands without its traditions. Power collectives always have a deep, abiding presentation of self, and no people can build or rebuild itself without a class of warriors whose strength of character has been handcrafted by them to clear its path and keep that way open. Every warrior's character is a direct reflection of his or her spiritual, psychological, and physical inheritance. No one is separable from the ethical and moral mind of his or her people. All true warriors think, speak, and act out of genial cultural genius bestowed on them through the blood and spirit of their lineage. They are who they are because of who they have always been. There is no separation between us building our nation and our culture. Our culture is the strongest weapon against what we are fighting in existence. It was Marimba Ani that said, culture is your immune system. And we must get back to that. So there's no separation between us having great character, our culture, and building our nation. And I believe that is the last slide, and that's correct. So thank you for everyone that tuned in. I'll look and see if there were some questions. Brother Alice says, so is RERE the cornerstone of the African social theory? If not the, I would say it is definitely one. It's definitely one of them. Because when you talk about RERE, as I said, you're talking about the essence of African people. So without African people, there is no social theory. So we must come back to ourselves in a sense, and ourselves being the Africans we were born to be. Thank you, Sister Tria. Thank you, Sister Adenike Mayasa Asheo. Are there any more? Okay. Sister Taj, this is Dilla Iakore. Oh, this is Taj's son. Adupeo for the lesson. Kotope Omo. And that's basically saying thanks to the child. Modupe to you too, Sister Keisha. I'm glad people enjoyed the lesson. Is there any more questions in the chat? I have a question. RERE is the result of Ina Pele. No, I am trying to remember what Ina means. I am not fluent in Yoruba. There are words that escape me. Let me see if I can look that up really quickly. Oh, okay, Iwa. RERE is the result of Iwa Pele. No, oh, okay. Not necessarily, although the two can be conjoined, because obviously you have to have both to be a Babalao. But Iwa Pele is more specifically for the people that are studying to be Babalaos because of its relation to the colors and its relation to the nature that you must have. There are other people that are worshipers of other divinities that don't need that coolness. They can be hot in certain situations. For example, Shango. Shango is a deity that is a hot divinity. You know, Oya, hot divinity. Ogun, hot divinity. And in their character, it requires them to be hot. But with Iwapele, you can't really get into that mode like they can. I hope that answers your question. Sister Ade Nike Mayasa says, are you going to be holding more classes? I'm so glad that you asked. If you type into YouTube my name, Blak Pantha, you will find all my lectures. If you type in Masi Warrior Clan, you will find my lectures and the lectures of my scholarship group. I'm going to put my website, because I said I would, in the chat, where you can find my articles, you can find my videos, you can find my suggested reading, you can find everything about me on that website. If you type in Kilmonger's Corner, you will find, if you type it into Amazon, you will find the first ever Pan-African journal produced specifically for the conscious community. We have Baba Malimu Barudi in this journal. I have an article in this journal. Brother Asar Motel, Brother Wujawu, Brother Ankh Binu is in this journal. Brother Kevin Kufu Mintu Hotep is in this journal. We have interviewed Dr. Ma'at for this journal. We have so many great personalities and articles in this journal, as well as poetry. We have art in this journal. So it's a great pickup. It's a great something to read. We are in the process of producing volume 2 to Kilmonger's Corner right now. And that's going to be out before the end of the year. So I appreciate the support. I truly do. And please check us out on those platforms, because that's what we do. She said, I was just about to ask. So I'm glad I could beat you to the punch. Let's say, in establishing new communities in Africa, how are we going to compete with the whites and Chinese who have financial resources to win over African natives, and who are building infrastructure there on the continent? A question as far as our strategy. Thanks. Excellent question. We have to remind our brothers on the continent of the hells that their ancestors and our ancestors went through. And we have to invest and build that bridge. So when I said earlier about building that bridge, I'm not talking about just going back to Africa and going to the tourist sites. I'm talking about going and starting some business, buying some land. Of course, we have to compete with the Chinese and the Japanese and the whites and everybody that's scrambling for Africa once again. But we have to remind them of the character that is in their tradition and how they are not going to get that same experience with dealing with outsiders. I just read an article about 2 months ago about how Nigeria is getting tired of the Chinese. They are looking for somebody else to help them solve problems. Why can't that be us? Why can't it be? If you have the means and you have the financial capital and the means to travel, of course, once, COVID dies down, take your trip. My brother Dinas Demir is helping people buy land in Africa. I'm going to put the way he spells his name in the chat. Dinas Demir's YouTube channel is called Search for Uhuru. If you Google Dinas Demir, you'll find his channel. And he's helping people invest in Africa, because we have to build those bridges with our brothers and sisters so that they can depend on us for help and not the first person that comes along with the bag. Because all they care about is solving their problems. They're just trying to get infrastructure, feed their families. It goes all back to my presentation. They're trying to do what's necessary. Feed their community, feed their villages. Well, how come we can't help them do that? And vice versa, they can help us. Because once we start going back and we get citizenship and we do this, when things start to happen to us in America, we have an entire country or continent to step up for us then once we build those bridges. That's the way it has to work. Every link has to come together. So excellent question, Sister Nikki. I'm glad you asked that. Do all African countries offer dual citizenship? Here's how it works. Most African countries, you have to, there's guidelines. There's several different ways you can get citizenship. The obvious way is if you're related to someone there. If not, once you start your business there, people can help you with citizenship. Once you build those relationships, people can help you with dual citizenship. But you have to build those relationships. I'm not going to say all of them offer it, but a lot of them do. Countries like Ghana, like Nigeria, like Benin, like Gambia. I know those four offer them for people I know that went through the process. And actually, COVID slowed down my process because I was supposed to go to Gambia to receive mine. But as soon as this clears up, I'll be on my way. But yes, you have to build those relationships, and people will help you get that dual citizenship if that is what you know, if that is what you want to do. Are there, I think I got about 15 minutes left. Once again, thank everybody for coming out. This is my first virtual conference as well, as Baba Amin said earlier. I'm glad that I've decided to participate. I'm glad I was invited. Share this with your children, share this with your friends. This is something to where we can do this, you know, not just on centennials, but annually if we can. Oh yeah, I understand, Sister Taj. I know that you teaching your babies right now. Maybe for Houdier to you as well, Dabo. Sister Keisha said, I believe Africa must begin in a major marketing campaign to lure African Americans to the continent for both business and dual citizenship. I agree, and I believe that started with the year of return from Ghana. And now Nigeria is planning a year of return. And other countries, seeing the success that Ghana has, are planning a year of return or something to that, you know, to speak to us. You know, contrary to popular belief, and I can say this from going to the continent, African people want us to come home because they see the mutual beneficiary with them standing with us. They got questions about America. We got questions about Africa. They want to learn the stuff that we do. We want to learn about our cultures and traditions. They need us to help them build. We need to go and build to obtain the financial sovereignty that we're looking for. A lot of us tired of working for the white man, tired of working in the United States. In Africa, the business ventures are plentiful. The business opportunities you can do are plentiful. you can start something there and you know, be financially stable. Your money is going to stretch more in Africa. You know, but that's just my repatriation. I'm on my repatriation soapbox, so to speak. But you know, from traveling and going and visiting, and I see the opportunities. And I know some of us that it ain't quite working here, we could be you know, profitable there. And you know, it's just something to put on your mind. Let's see. Sister Tria says quarterly. Hey, if we can pull it off, I'll be here. You don't have to convince me to do something for African people. I'm just gonna show up. Will the presentation be available for playback? You will have to talk to Brother Alice about that. I don't know what his plan is for the playback. I'm not sure. Okay, Sister Keisha said yes. The event is recorded. Okay, cool. So
yes, sir, brother. Everything's being recorded, and everybody who purchased admission will receive the conference in its entirety.
Cool. So, you know, if you know somebody that needs this information, or, you know, have them go to the website and they can purchase the information. And because this is going to be a lot of information over, you know, dished out over these next 2 days. So I think it's worth it. You know, we're going to have a variety of speakers. I know I'm going to tune in to Baba Balogun Ojetade. I know I'm going to tune in to his because I've taken some of his instruction, and I know the brother knows what he's doing, and I want to see that presentation personally. You know, we got a star-studded cast here. We got Brother Marcus Klein is going to be giving a presentation. You know, we got Brother Kalanji coming on. You know, we got Malimu Barudi and Mama Ya coming on. You know, we got a star-studded, all-star cast. So it'd be a shame for anybody to miss this. So continue to, you know, put that out, put the website out there, so whoever purchases this can get some of this great information. Because when I looked at the list of names, I said, man, this is history right here. You know, I don't think we've all been involved in anything like this. You know, probably the most speakers I've ever been around was like maybe 5 or 6. So this is great. So tell your friends, family, children, and etc. to get on this while they can. Brother Attorney Vernon Jackson is going to be on, and I follow that brother on Instagram for years, and you know, we're scattered all over the country, so never thought I'd get a chance to hear him speak. So this is uniting not only people that come to watch, but the presenters. You know, exposing us to new people or people that we never thought we would be around. You know, this is a great thing y'all put together. I'm glad to be a part of it. And please go purchase Harriet Shotgun from our Vanguard United Front, featuring Doc Monty and University Ave. I already got my copy. It's already in the iTunes. It's already on the iPod. It's ready to go. So as soon as I'm done here, that's what I'm going to be working out to, listening to. And, you know, that's what I'm going to be banging probably the next couple of weeks. Because Brother Bomani will tell you, I got all his albums, all of his cruise albums. That's just how I roll. You know, every revolution needs a soundtrack. And them brothers are the soundtrack, you know, for what we represent, the red, black, and the green. You know, this is an historic time. And we got to keep supporting. We got to keep supporting. Absolutely. So if there's no more questions, thank you, Sister Adenike. Adenike. I know that's crown of something. I'm trying to remember what Nike means. But you'll see us and those of us in the Yoruba tradition with these specific names, these names of power. And I suggest all African people go back and join a system and get your name of power, get your name of, you know, that corresponds to your mission in life. You know, Baba Balagoon, he's a warlord. Get that name that, you know, corresponds. Oh, it's Crown is loving. Oh, Crown is loving. Yeah, yeah. Get your name that corresponds with your mission in life. If you're wondering what my name is Ogunjimi, which has a variety of meanings, but it basically means Ogun entrust me. Ogun is heavy upon me. So that is my Ogun name. So I suggest all African people go back and get their name of power. You know, that's just my suggestion. What's that, about 8 more minutes left? And Brother Alice, if you have anything to say, you're always welcome to come in. But I can't stress enough the gratitude I have for being invited to this. Also, United Front has shirts. Harriet Tubman shirts that they're selling on their website, ufasafo.com. So go check those out. I'm going to put my wife's YouTube channel in here, because she's also doing YouTube videos for our people. So check out Lili La Poete Speaks. You'll see me on there sometimes. We do the Myths Debunk series, which we debunk myths that have made it. And as my presentation talked about, if it's said too long, it becomes a fact, and we like to dispel those. So check out that channel as well. I got about 7 minutes left. All right. Let me see if I can do all my shout outs. People always say I left them out or something. My bad. Charge it to my head, not to my heart. Let's see. I think I got everybody. Maybe not. For some of the quotes, Asar Imhotep's book, Illusia, Volume 2. I'll put that in here. And that's a book that I recommend. So you can get that as well. I also always put this out. If there's anyone that is interested in becoming an African spirituality practitioner, you can always hit me up for that. I know sometimes people don't know where to go, who to talk to. I've heard things and, you know, a little hesitant. I will get you to someone that will not scam you and will do it in a manner in which you want. So if you're interested in that, let me know. I always guide people And I do it purely because I believe it is essential to our African liberation. And I don't charge no money or nothing like that. So, just hit me up if that's what you're interested in. Let's see. I'm going to look at the schedule. Who do we have coming on after me? Sister Keisha is next. Dr. Amari Johnson and Geechee Motivator after the lunch break. So stick around if you can and watch those powerful presenters. And this is just day one, so I think we're off to a great start, and it's going to be great. Which is crazy is around the 5 p.m. 6:30 because Kalonji, Baba Balagoon, and Attorney Vernon Jackson, man, those, let me just say, them three brothers they with it. and y'all know what I'm talking about. They with it. I wouldn't try either one of those. Them three brothers gonna be with it. They own the list, as I like to say. The list of people not to mess with. So that block right there is gonna be crazy. So please tune in for that. Okay, you are interested in African spirituality and you are in the ATL. I'm gonna put my Facebook name in here and hit me on that, brother. That's my Facebook name. If you have Facebook, hit me on that. Let's see. I'll put my email in here as well. Hit me on either one of those, and I'll get you to somebody that can get you started, brother or sister. I don't know, but we'll dialogue and we'll get you to where you need to be. So let me know, hit me up, and we'll get you started. Thank you all for coming and listening to me and choosing to listen to me. I hope you gained something from this presentation. I hope you're inspired to, not only nation build, but continue to work on your character. I cannot see your email. Let me post it. Well, let me try sending it to you directly. I hope it goes through. If it doesn't show up, it's mossywarriorclan@gmail.com. So contact me, hit me up, any questions, anything like that, I will respond. Oh, please, Sister Nikki, you can ask another question. I think I got about 1 minute left. Do you think WD was... yes, I think he was sincere. Although W.E.B. Du Bois did go against Garvey, and that was very